We are live. Is it just me or there's this echo, some noise in the... Michael, is it you? Or you're in a busy
No, there's
area?
no echo from me.
Or is it you're in a busy...
Not really. No, it's not busy here. I think I'm the only one with another guy here. That's all.
All right, okay. Okay. Trying to get a link. Okay. Still waiting for 3 minutes. Okay, I'll wait for 2 more minutes, then we'll start. Okay. Hello, viewers, hello, listeners. Whether you're on YouTube, Divorce on My Terms, or Naana Abokomah page, thank you for tuning in. This evening, the topic is the impact of child abuse. Well, now I think about it, probably I should have said the impact of childhood abuse on the now adult. The impact of childhood abuse on the now adult. And to help me to dissect this topic with the intention is, even if we are able to support or save, we are not saviors. That is why I put quotation marks around save. One person, I believe, would have done a good job. With me, I have three wonderful people, two beautiful ladies and a handsome gentleman here to discuss the topic. So I give each of them 1 second to introduce themselves, 1 second each. So I will start from the top. Paulette.
Good evening. I'm Paulette Montero. I am an author and I'm a school administrator as well and a youth leader in my local church.
Okay. Thank you, Paulette, an author, school administrator, youth leader. Dr. Eunice Turkson. Dr. Eunice Turkson, all the way I've introduced her, I'm sorry. All the way from Virginia, so I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eunice Turkson, and I am here from Richmond, Virginia. I am a school educator as well as an administrator by profession.
Thank you. And then we have our honorable esteemed gentleman. He has a special place in my heart. We go all the way to primary school, so there's a special bond there. Am I doing good, Michael, to give you all the accolades? Am I doing okay? Or should I keep going?
Leave it all right. No, no, it's all right. Just leave it there.
So I'll let you introduce yourself, Michael.
My name is Michael Sarbeng. I'm a mental health nurse, and I work in the forensic mental health, moved to the psychiatric and care unit before working in ASD unit and learning disability and eating disorder, all sort of things in the camps as well. So I've dealt with people right from the young age up to 65 years. So that's been my background. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I am Naana Abokomah Gyandoh. I am a counselor, a mental health advocate. I am big on mental health, especially within the Afro-Caribbean community. We don't do mental health, but it is killing us. And more so in the church, we spiritualize mental health issues. A person could be clearly dying under the weight of the mental torture, and we spiritualize it. So I believe that is where God has directed me to address those issues. And hopefully this evening, we can answer a few questions and provide some solutions to people who are listening. So child abuse is thrown around everywhere. Child abuse. The first question is, what is child abuse? What is child abuse? Who'd like to go first? What is child abuse?
I'll say
Shall I go?
child abuse is. Oh, sorry. It's all right.
All right. I believe
Yes,
child
go.
abuse is, I would say, any person under 18 years of age that is being, physically, mentally, emotionally harmed by the caregiver. It could be a parent, it could be a guardian, anybody that the person under 18 years has been put in their care. If they are being abused non-accidentally, meaning, like just deliberately being hurt by the adult that has been put in charge of that person under 18 years, we might call that abusive. And it's huge. It's a very big issue, and it comes under a very big umbrella. But basically, it's about the harm that is being affected to the person under 18 years of age, which we call a minor. And in all those areas, mental, physical, emotional, all that you can name.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Michael, you come in.
Yeah. I think children to abuse children. So in the context of where I work, it's not only for the adult abusing the children. So we look at it in a way as any child intentionally harmed by an adult or another child is considered as child abuse. Because we've had an issue in UK here whereby a young person went to kill another child, and he abused the person before killing the person, and it was a big issue in the news and all that. So here we look at child abuse as somebody being abused by either an adult or a minor. It's all child abuse because when you look at some of the things, some of the people doing things are under the age of 16 and 17, doing so many bad things to people who are about 10, 11, and 12. And they go on, carry on to have a negative effect of them in their life, even at later adult time. So in that context, yes, I agree with Dr. Turkson about that, that if when a child has been abused by an individual, that is what is called a child abuse, an intentional one, which is something that is intentional. The word that it's there is intentional. So we need to look at that in that context. And as you said, it's a wide range, it's massive. There are different types of abuses. Some could be cyberbullying, some could be child sex exploitation, child could be child trafficking, criminal exploitation, gangs, with the gangs coming in there, abusing young people, making them do things that they don't want to do. In the context of, if you don't do, we're going to do it. They first lure them with money and other things before they get them to do what they have to do. Domestic abuse is a massive issue. In our culture, especially the African Caribbean culture. Emotional abuse is also there. I mean, when we go into it, we come to see back home the way some of our parents are emotionally abused. We can talk into that later on, not now. FGM is also another massive one. That's female genital mutilation. It's another massive one as an abuse of a child, because normally they're doing this to the children when they're quite young. Grooming is another one. Neglect, a massive one here, which we need to have to also look at because people don't see it. And then non-recent abuse, those abuse in the past. When we were minor, things were happening to us, and then we were not really aware of it. And when we grow up, it affects our relationship with other people. We have to look at that. Online abuse is something that's coming up recently because of the technology that has come up as well. And the physical abuse, we all know, people hitting people and not kicking and all that. So it's a massive thing. It's not only just about what people look at in terms of when they hear the name abuse, they go straight into only one context: sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse. Okay. All right. Yes, Paulette, do you have any more to add? Would you like to add your voice to?
No, I think I second everything that has been said. I think I was going to mention child-on-child abuse as well, which Michael has named, so everything is fine.
Okay. Now, bear with me. All of you have mentioned some points. I want us to explore it before we move on to the next question. So, Dr. Tex, you mentioned non-accidentally. Michael, you said intentional. Yeah, you said intentional, right? Am I correct, Michael?
Yep.
You said intentional. So, is the adult, I'll pick the adult, I'll come to the adult and then come to the minor who's an abuser. So is the adult aware that maybe their actions are an abuse or affecting the child emotionally or psychologically? Because you're saying intentional. Is it always intentional? Because I'm asking the question from the context of our backgrounds. The adult may not be aware this is not adult, but this is not abuse. But are the adults always aware when you say intentional, non-accidental?
May I go?
Yes, sure.
That's why we normally sometimes talk about the factors that account for these abuses. They come in many forms, but sometimes the adults themselves, you know, we have cases where babies are having babies. So we might also look at where the baby who has had the baby lacks the skills of what it means to become a parent.
Right.
So they themselves are already going through some situations which prevents them from even taking care of the baby that they have in their care. Others come in the form of stress. The home is already stressful, employment, marital issues. So due to these problems, they are unable to exhibit themselves as parents. Others come as a form of predisposition, where the parents themselves are already abused themselves,
Right.
so
Okay.
that they exhibit what they have been taught as how they were brought up is what they saw. So children normally just emulate what they see around themselves. And then we have a case where the parent also has a low self-esteem of themselves. So sometimes, if a sadist will always give away, sad situations. If you are sad, what do you have to give but sadness? So that if you are just like if you are rich, you are able to give away money. The same way, when you are sad, what you have enough of to give away is sadness. So that's
Yeah.
what you will impact to your child. We have a case where parents themselves are disabled. We have parents with disabilities, so that they already are disabled in some form, so they don't even have the slightest idea what is going on around them. So
Right.
when we talk about these areas, we're talking about the factors that lead to abuse.
Abuse.
And
Okay.
they come in different forms, and these are some of the ones I just want to highlight.
Okay. Yes, Michael.
When I say intentional, it's when the person is really aware of what they're doing. But you said some of them, are they really aware of some of the whatever they're doing? Yes, some of them are not aware of it. But the fact is, ignorance of existence of a certain law is not an excuse for violating it. It's
Okay.
clean and clear. Okay.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
let's go back to our school where we were in Cambridge. Let me use an example.
Yeah.
We had a headmaster and a proprietor who was whipping us with a cane as a means of correcting us for mistakes that we have done in school. Is that right? We should think about that. In the context of the headmaster, he thought he was doing something right for us to not be late next time coming to school, or maybe study hard and pass a test they've given us. Okay, that's what he think. He thought that was the right way to do it. But it's the right way to do it. We have to look at it in that context. He did not know that when he was doing that, he was abusing us by giving us all those lashes and having all those, scars at the back of us, having all the scars at the back of our mind, thinking about it, that this is what we went through. Was he even thinking about that? No. He was thinking of trying to model us in a way, that is an abuse, and we should not conform to that. So some of them are not aware of doing that.
Right. Some of them are not. I'm glad you mentioned the examples from Cambridge, the primary school went to. I tell you, there's a particular teacher, I don't know if you remember him, Mr. Claytos. I'm putting him on speaker here, Mr. Claytos. He was an alcoholic. You could smell the alcohol on his breath. And when he was beating you, you could see the anger in his eyes. And that, I still remember, that fear, I still remember that. So those are the things that some of us have carried through the years. Do you see? Anyway, so but we've touched on the accidental and the intentional now. The abuse by a minor. So how does the law address the abuse by a minor? So when it's a minor abusing a minor, how does the law address that? How does the law deal with that? Or if you're a caretaker, you're a Sunday school teacher, how do you deal with that in the light of the law?
Can I go?
Yes, sure, Michael.
Okay. It's quite difficult. I will not want to use the examples only in the United Kingdom, but I also use examples out of this country as well, and which everybody knows in the whole world. We had some Catholic priests who are abusing young people in the church.
Right.
And then these young people, we also know we're abusing other people. Now, who is going to be watching the watchman? Who's going to be watching these young people, telling them not to do A, B, C, and D? So it's quite difficult. But when it comes to the UK, we had a situation here where James Berger, which is in the news, I'm going to talk about it, whereby he was about 11, 12 years old, and another young person wanted to kill somebody. What happened is they put it in a young institution whereby they were dealt with. So the law is there and clear. They will be put in places whereby they'll be dealt with. Okay, to support them, because they know that they might have gone through a situation whereby they are doing this. Now, most of the time, those abusing people might have gone through an abusive situation. That's why they are doing that. Exactly. So when we get to the other side, we're talking about, the adults going through this situation, you come to realize that a lot of them are doing things that they thought were the norm at home. Like somebody beating the partner at home might have seen the dad beating the mother at home, might think, oh, this is normal. So they are doing the same thing. So the young people are doing the same thing because they think it's a norm that they're doing. So it's up to the social services and the government to be able to deal with that, which they normally do. But they can't bring it in public because it's not right. So they will say a minor has done this, but he can't publish it.
Because they are still developing.
We can see that they're still developing, and it's unfair on them because they are minors and they shouldn't be able. This news shouldn't be coming out. But when some of them are quite gruesome, they mention the names. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'd like to bring Paulette in here. My next question was, what are the different types of abuse? But I think you've touched on it as the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, emotional abuse. Michael, I want us to touch on the emotional abuse later on in the discussion, but I'd like to bring Paulette in here.
I wanted to add a little bit to what Michael said as far as the school setting.
Okay, just a quick one, because I want to bring Paulette in.
In the school setting, we have behavior counselors or counselors where, we send the children to at least go through some kind of counseling.
Right.
Because they can lose their education.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just send them to counselors so they can help them as they're going through school. Every now and then in the school day, we just pull them out for a few minutes or something to work on their social skills and all that.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Michael. I'd like to bring Paulette in. Paulette has written a book. Paulette is a youth worker, and the work she does is not theory, it's practical. She went through abuse, and she's by God's grace, she's turned her life around. So, Paulette, I want you to, in a few minutes, 1 minute, just wrap it up for us. What was your experience? What are the challenges you went through, and where are you now? The clock is ticking.
Sure. Thank you. So I went through sexual abuse at the age of 9, and it was actually a girl who abused me. I was 9 and she was 16. Then I went again through another sexual abuse at the age of 19. I'm sorry, at the age of 20, I went through sexual abuse, but this time it was a guy, and obviously you call it rape. And after that, I also went through domestic violence. So those are my experiences. How it affected me. So obviously the first sexual abuse, being a woman, and having that done by another woman, for me, it affected my view on sexuality, my view, of myself. I felt quite dirty. I questioned my sexuality. Though I knew I like guys, but after that, it was kind of a lot of questions in my mind. I became quite flirtatious to prove a point that I like guys and guys are attracted to me. So, being flirtatious is quite reckless in its own way. It's the way I was doing it, obviously. I was quite broken. But I did the best I could to forget about that experience. And I actually, after a while, managed to forget about it. When then I was 20 and was again sexually abused, that really broke me. Because I was a virgin at the time, so it really broke me that I had lost my virginity in such a manner. After that, I didn't value sex at all. I saw sex as a chore. I thought that sex is just whatever, And every time I was in a relationship, I would just, if I had to have sex, then I would be like, yeah, whatever. It didn't mean anything to me. I didn't value it, and I clearly didn't value myself as well as a result. And being in a domestic violence relationship, I went through what we call the cycle, the cycle of violence, from financial abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and that really broke me. I became a shadow of myself. I couldn't quite function in the normal way someone would. Quite depressed, quite very, very anxious, and I just didn't think that I could ever come out of that. I just thought this is what maybe I deserved in life, and I was just willing to put up with what was presented to me at the time, because I was obviously carrying quite a lot of brokenness and a lack of self-esteem because of the previous experiences I had been through.
So how did you get to where are you now, emotionally, psychologically?
Right. Now I'm obviously doing much better. I would say writing a book has definitely been part of my journey of healing. I haven't yet gone through counseling, which I've referred myself, and I'm going to start very soon. I've had the assessment. I'm just waiting to be to go properly into the right counseling program. I have done most of my healing journey with God. That's how it's been. But I see a need for me to see a counselor. But God has done a lot of unraveling. Like I said, my first, the first, because it's not mine, the first sexual abuse, I managed to forget it. And when I started writing the book, that's when it actually came back to surface. And I was thinking, wow. And I just remember crying as I was typing, and I had to stop writing because it became just overwhelming that I had forgotten about that. And now it was clear in my mind what had happened and in the details. I had to just let it out, bring it to God, and allow God to just heal my heart. Emotionally, I'm much better. I'm definitely, trying my best to make better choices in regards to obviously relationships. But it's a work. I would say healing is not a destination; it's a journey, and I'm actually doing that journey, and I'm committed to it, and I'm doing it intentionally. So everything that God brings back to to my remembrance, I make sure that I obviously take it to Him in prayer, because it has a significance obviously in this journey. So that's why I am. So, but much better, definitely.
Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for being so brave. God bless you. So this is Paulette's story. So I just wanted Paulette to share a story so that if there's anybody listening, it's not just a myth, it's not just where we grew up from, it's not just an Anansi story, or it's not a game, some computer game you play. So I will, without not drilling too much into Paulette's story, I want to get it back to the main topic. What are the signs of an abused child? What are the signs of an abused child? Paulette, would you like to say something on that? The signs of an abused child.
Yes, I would say depending on the child's, let's say if the child is usually very lively and very chatty, some children tend to withdraw. They tend to obviously have a kind of I would say drastic change of behavior. So if they will not act the way they are usually, if I can say that. Obviously, there are sort of certain games, certain language that the child will use that can indicate that something is happening. Sometimes the language that they're using is not a childlike language. It's something they would have heard the abuser say. Some of the games, maybe, trying to touch other children's private parts is also an indicator that something is not right there. Because obviously that's something that has been done to them and they have been made to feel like it's something normal. So obviously they will do it to others because they think it's a game. I'm doing this game in private with this person, and let me just bring that game into obviously the elements I'm now functioning in. Um, so I would say that sometimes children who are being abused are quite clingy to their parents. If it's not the parents abusing them, uh, parents can notice that the child is quite clingy, and maybe when they see the abuser come, they may, sometimes they become a bit frightened and cling to their parents because they have actually seen the abuser, entering the room, or maybe hearing their voice could trigger something within them. And again, it's a change of behavior that, a parent can notice, or, like we say, I'm a youth leader, so maybe something a youth leader can notice, or a child leader within the church as well can notice the change of behavior of children.
Okay. Yes, Michael or Doctor, do you want to come in? What are some of the signs of an abused child? What are the things to look out for?
Yeah. In the school setting, what we normally notice is kids are normally withdrawn sometimes from the general like their peers. You go on the playground, they are often isolated. They don't really mingle with everyone else. Sometimes you see them with bruises on the skin, and like almost always you see that you ask them, they will tell you, maybe I fell, or I fell in a bathroom, or it was an accident. But you realize that sometimes some parents who see that this is happening, maybe they become sorry or something, but they end up let's say making the child think that they're going to be taken away from them by CPS, I mean Child Protective Services. And so they put in the minds of the children that, if they take you away from me, you're never going to see me again, kind of thing. So it makes the children sometimes afraid that they're going to be taken away. So they are scared to talk to, teachers or any adults around. Sometimes too, these children are bullies themselves. They come in bullying others. So it's a sign that they themselves are being abused at home. Sometimes too, they use vulgar language, the way they speak. You realize that they're going through stuff, and that's what they see anyway. So they're exhibiting it. Other times they don't even want to go home. When school is out, you try, mostly they just don't want to go back home for fear of being, molested, being abused, and all. So it comes in so many forms. There are so many things that you see that makes you know that this child, suspected abuse is going on. But once you suspect it, like I said earlier, we are mandated to report. So once you see it, you don't even want to go further. You just go ahead and report, so we can take it further, or the authorities can take it further. But these are just but a few of the signs that we see as far as the school system is concerned.
Michael, do you want to come in?
Yes, I think I should have told you my background was in teaching as well before I did turn out to be a nurse.
Right.
So some of the things I noticed in school.
Okay.
Some of the
All
things
right.
I noticed in school, to add on to Dr. Turkson, is the children become problem in school, and they have problem learning. That's one thing you realize, that maybe a bright child all of a sudden is dropping grades in school. It's one sign to say the person is being abused. Also, you're going to see, coming back to my setting, you're going to see people, their kids getting anxious, so anxiety, depression, they start having suicidal thoughts, they'll be bedwetting, they'll also be having constant regular sickness. Also, they'll become attached, like the way Paula is saying, they have something like an attachment problem, whereby they always want to get close to somebody as a refuge, because they think they're running away from the problem, that they need somebody to be there for them. And people might see that to be an attention seeking. No, they are getting attached to somebody to run away from the problem that they have. If time permits, I will tell a story about what Paula said, a similar one with a patient I dealt with. I'm not going to mention names, but I'm going to tell you about what the person went through. It's the same similar thing that Paula also went through, and it's quite a serious thing. I totally agree with Paulette, and then I think she's done a good job. Now, the next thing too is maybe the person will be going into taking drugs, because the thing taking drugs is going to help them get away from the problem they're in, even as young as 8, 9, 10. They think that's a solution to it. They go into alcohol taking, and if you're not careful, they tend to be alcoholic. The next one too they do is maybe they turn into eating disorder. It becomes a problem from them eating, and it's quite difficult for them to overcome that, because they've been abused in a way that now they have a problem whereby eating is an issue for them. I have a lot of patients I work with who have traumatic experience at home, being abused, and they tend to become eating disorder and become anorexic, which is quite a big issue that we're going through in the United Kingdom at the moment. So these are some of the things to add on to what Dr. Turkson just mentioned. But one of the things also have to realize is when they get abused, some of them become very aggressive. They become aggressive, they become violent, and then they turn into gangs. Why? They want protection. They want protection from what's happening to them not to happen again. So it's another dynamics of this abusive relationship the children go through.
Thank you. I have a comment from Dupe Makinde. Thanks for sharing, Paulette. And I have another comment from Lucy Boating. I'm watching you. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Dupe. Thank you for tuning in. So there is Michael. You know Lucy?
Yeah, that's my brother's wife. They live in Minneapolis.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you, Lucy, all the way from Minneapolis. Thank you. There is something, I've lost my train of thought now. There is something you mentioned that I wanted to, right. Doc, you said when the child is maybe physically abused and the parent put, as we say here, the fear of God in the child to say, if you tell them, they will take you away. Social services day. You see, that in itself is manipulation, is abuse, isn't it?
Yes.
So the child is being abused both physically, emotionally, psychologically, all the above. But you tend to find that it's very common again in our community.
Yes.
We do that a lot. Oh, don't do that. Otherwise they will take you away. So the child has this weight on themselves. As I said, within our community, we have a lot of mental health issues.
Yes.
So we have to be careful not to just attack the young ones. Oh, yeah, you know what, Abroche Nkwala, kids born in the diaspora, you know what they are like. Let's pay attention to our parenting. The way we were raised, we were abused. Some of us, we were abused. They were too strict on. You see, there are things I want us to touch on: rejection, abandonment.
Yeah.
Rejection and abandonment. A lot of us were from all these polygamous families, and the child is seeking the father's attention, and the child feels rejected and abandoned. All those issues, we have all that baggage. Do you see? We have all that baggage, and we are trying to raise, we are now parents, we are trying to raise these kids doing the best we can. So we have rejection, abandonment issues thrown in the background, and then we tend to project it and do the same to our kids. And it's when some of them get to the teen years, that's when all the anger they've carried from childhood, it all comes up in the teen years. Anyway, so to my next question. impact of child abuse. So I've had Anita Forsen. Please tell Michael Anita is watching him. Anita, Michael, you're popular tonight. So please tell Michael. Please tell Michael Anita is watching him. So Michael, you're popular. I'm getting jealous. Okay. So thank you, Anita. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Dupe. Thank you for your comments. Keep your comments coming. If you have questions, please throw in the questions. If you were molested as a child sexually, if you are abused physically, if you are rejected, abandoned as a child, you wanted your mother's attention, you wanted your father's attention, but it wasn't coming, and you carry that weight and you are listening. If you don't want to talk now, reach out after the program. Go to Divorce on My Terms, just send me a message. Contact Michael, he's a mental health, or contact me and I'll link you with Michael. Michael, I'm getting problems for you. So I'm volunteering you. So
not a problem.
Reach out on Divorce on My Terms page, send me a message. I will get back to you. Like I said, I am a counselor, I'm a mental health advocate. So you don't, I always say this, you don't have to suffer alone. You don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to be this big person on the outside, and especially in church. You're singing hallelujah, but you are dying inside because you want everybody to know that you're okay. Now, this brings me to the next point. Shame attached to abuse. So now this little boy, this little girl who is now an adult, these things come to mind, but there is this shame attached to it, the shame of being ridiculed, the shame of, let me go back to the 70s, because most of us, Paulette, take your hat off to us. We are 70s babies. So in the 70s, you dared not say you were abused. Your parents would say it was your fault. So there might be someone listening. You're carrying this shame. What would you say to this person, Michael? What would you say?
I think it's even before the 70s. If you're going to go back into history, where in the United Kingdom, when they started the Magna Carta, which is quite the 17th, 14th, 15th, 16th century, you know, the bishop was and the priest were most powerful apart from the king. So whatever the priest or the bishop says at that time, okay, is what the king was going to listen to. So if, for example, you have one of these priests who is an abuser, you will not be able to talk about it, because when you say that you go and tell the king that you said something about the priest, you could be excommunicated. So there was a fear there. Right. So the fear has been in us right from those times. And when you look in our culture, the Europeans came into Africa in 1482. That's when they came there. They brought in the church and all that. So we follow the same trail of those things. So you cannot even talk about sexualized things with your parents, because that was what was preached in church. Me, for one, my mom is such a Christian that I could not discuss anything sexually with my mom. Absolutely no way. Even meeting a girlfriend, I couldn't talk to my mom. How I got to marry my wife, I couldn't even talk to my mom before she realized I moved out of the house, because she doesn't want to know. You know, and that is something that our parents should have known. So back to what you said, in the 70s, you dare not talk about sexual, assault on you to anyone. They're going to tell you maybe the clothes that you wear, or maybe the way you sexualize yourself. But they did not think about what was, maybe you were not even, you were just an innocent person. Or maybe they were the one who created the problem. Let me give you an example. Back in the 70s, we used to have a lot of house helps coming into the house. And the house helps coming into the house were those in the puberty age. And in puberty age, Dr. Turkson will be, bear with me, that's when the hormones start jumping. So they want to try anything sexual. So when they see a young boy in the house, they want to use the young boy as their trial before they go. So inevitably, they tend to abuse a young child. Who am I to go tell my parents that the house help has done this to me? I will not be able to tell my parents. You understand me? That the child will be going through that difficulty throughout their lives. So it could be the other way around. A houseboy with a young girl in the house being abused, they will not be able to talk about it because they feel like they're dirty. They feel like they've done something to them which it's not right for them to do. They feel like they're scared their parents will do something to them. So they don't want to talk about it. And if you talk about it to the parents, who don't want to hear about it. Back in the days, we couldn't watch any TV with somebody kissing. Because the moment it comes on TV, everybody's closing their eyes.
We cover our eyes.
Running away from there.
Yeah.
So we are not talking about sexuality in our culture. It's not done. And it should be done for people to know these are the things that could lead into other people's souls. So if somebody is touching appropriately, you quickly know those are signs, you move away from there. But we are not doing it in our culture. That's why we have a problem.
Right. Okay, thank you. Now, my next question, impact of child abuse on partner selection. Who wants to go? Impact of childhood abuse on the choice of partner we go with.
Dr. Sex, you want me to continue? Paul, you want me to continue? Because it links to whatever I was talking about when people are young and they go through that traumatic experience. Now, there was a research recently that came out from the European Union, and it's saying that a lot of people who are abused in the partner selection tend to select a partner who is an abuser. Okay? And this is what normally happens. When you meet your partner, you want to see you're compatible. You want to see what you people have in common. You want to see if you listen to the same kind of music, you want the same kind of movies and things like that. Then a conversation will come. I was abused when I was young. Okay? Then the person too will say, oh yes, I also saw abuse when I was also young. So you find somebody who share the same kind of common story. Okay? Then you people think you're compatible. But now the abuser now becomes an abusive person because they've not dealt with the situation. They've not had a counseling session. They've not had maybe a CBT, that's cognitive behavior treatment, for them to be able to overcome whatever the problem are. So they will go in and start abusing other people. Okay? So now I have met my partner who is an abusive person, and I'm also an abusive. I've been abused before. Now the person is exhibiting what the person saw when the person was young, the abuse on me. Now, abuse, it could be both ways. It could be men, it could be women, it could be women to men. It's not only the one sex, genders being abused.
So
you're
right on that.
Whatever they see as what their mother was doing to their father in terms of abuse, maybe kicking and hitting and doing that, they're going to do the same thing. Whatever they see that their mother doing to their father in terms of emotional abuse and all that, they're going to do to their partner. So they can't hold the partner down. Whatever they see their fathers doing to their mothers, kicking and doing all that kind of emotional abuse, financial abuse, all that, they're going to do the same thing to their partner. Okay? In that case, they can't hold a relationship. Until you have a serious counseling section, you have a serious training for you to be able to get away from that kind of situation you're in, you'll not be able to find a solution. Then you're going to have a problem whereby you can hold, how do you call it, a relationship. Let me use myself as an example. Okay? My father was in the armed forces. In 1979, there was a coup in the country. You witnessed that. My father was put in jail for 5.5 years without trial. I had to live with other people, okay? And what I saw there, I live with different people, and the abuse I went through, I do not want to discuss it in public, but it was just too bad. The emotional abuse I went through, the financial abuse I went through, the physical abuse I went through, it's just too bad. So when I met my partner, I discussed with her, okay? And I told her this is what I went through. Then she sat me down, because my luck was she was not the emotional abuse at that time. She was not physical abuse at that time because she was lucky, let me put it that way. And then she helped me go through all this process.
Right.
Okay. So I had somebody who took me through this process. And then when I'm doing something that is not right, she knows how to talk to me and make me feel what I did was wrong. She kept on telling me, when you get into a situation like that, all you need to do is keep your mouth shut, move away from there, think it through before you talk about it. And the next time she tells me, it's not your call to talk about anything. Okay, so just move away from there. Then you have to start thinking through what you have to go through. So I was lucky to get someone to take me through this process. But if you're not lucky to get someone to take you through the process, then you become an abuser.
Right.
Okay, but the thing is the norm. Look, seeing somebody's mother being raped, the father raping the mother, the person might think, oh, it's right to do that. So when they meet their partner, they rape the partner. You see? So it's always that kind of cycle until it's broken. And the only way to break it is to make sure you get some counseling.
It's always a cycle until it is broken. It's always a cycle until it is broken.
Until it's broken.
Until it's broken. So what about social skills, outbursts, frustrations, mood swings? How does that come in?
Okay.
The abuse child who is now
remember Yeah, we remember we talked about children becoming aggressive and violent when they abused. Okay, now violence and aggression is linked to, I mean, people getting frustrated and then
Yeah.
outburst.
Yeah.
Because when somebody's upset and frustrated, the outburst is an aggression that comes out for them to do
Right.
things
Right. Right.
which are not
Right.
acceptable in public. Okay.
Right.
Now, when they get into that area, we need somebody like a psychologist to be able to sit down with them to take them through the psychotherapy process.
Right.
Okay, to know how to deal with anger. I
Right.
was an anger. I mean, I was very, very angry when I was quite young because I saw what they did to my father. I was always angry, and I was always angry to the point that I even wanted to join the military to, I mean, take revenge for what they did to my father. Okay,
Right.
but we got to a point. My uncle who took over my father when my father passed away, the name is Commander Gage, taught me that I do not have to do that. I always have to move on to the next phase of my life. Okay. And the next phase of my life is to share my story, which my daughter is writing a book about me, okay, which is going to come out very soon anyway. So it's the process I went through. So look at me being abused as a kid, growing up to be somebody helping people who have been abused. Okay. And I've helped so many people go through that process. See, so for somebody to get away from that frustration and all that, they need a coping skill. A coping mechanism has to be there. Okay, some of them, there are so many things you can learn as, I mean, how do you call it, CBT. Okay, but mind you, people going through the abuse might have PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. They've been through a traumatic disorder, so now they have flashbacks. When they have those flashbacks, they can be violent, they can be aggressive, they can be frustrated and show the frustration.
Yeah.
Let me use Paul as an example. When she had a flashback when she was writing the book, she poured out her heart. She was crying. Okay, now she says, I need to do something about it, to work this thing out, to make people know about what goes on in my world and what I've been through so it hadn't happened to people. Okay, that is why she is sharing her story. That is why we are all here to tell people that when you have a problem like that, as Dr. Turkson said from the beginning, you need to admit that you have a problem. Then after that, you need to find a solution to the problem. And the solution to the problem is to maybe go for some counseling, some psychotherapy, or some other, there's so many of them, but to be able to overcome your problem.
Right. Thank you. There is this phrase I heard, the wounded soldier who is now a healer, something along those lines. So I can understand why I am heading towards counseling, and I am big on mental health. I was molested from the age of 3, sexually molested from the age of 3. If Michael, all I hear from my Cambridge mates is, you were so quiet. I was withdrawn. They say you were so quiet. You were so shy. I was withdrawn. I was sexually molested by family members, 2 or 3 of them. And one was persistent till was about 9 years. And to top that, I had rejection and abandonment issues. So come my teen years, not just my teen years, I was angry. I was always ready to fight because I was tired. I was always ready to fight. And I work in a male-dominated environment. I'm a quantity surveyor. So I go there, it's okay. But then after a while, as soon as I sense something little, I'm like a lion, I'm ready to pounce. It got to a point I was tired of the anger. Because I erupted into this animal that I myself didn't know. I was tired of the anger. I was tired of the outburst. That is when I sought counseling. Do you see? So if you're listening to me, I promise you, I can't recommend counseling, psychotherapy. I can't recommend it enough. And my faith, I am a Christian. I am a very prayerful Christian. That helped me a lot. But the next step was to go through the counseling and to unravel that broken little girl in me. So if you are listening, it's not too late. Don't let the shame and what people will say and what people would think. Reach out for help. There are so many organizations. And in Ghana now, I am so happy that counseling has picked up. We are talking about mental health issues in Ghana now. unlike before. If you're in other parts of Africa, seek help. In the UK, there are so many organizations. There's Mind, MIND.
Yeah.
If you're having suicidal thoughts as a result of all these things you went through, reach out for help. Don't suffer in silence, as I always say. Now, I want to bring this to the church. All that we are talking about, I want to bring it to the church. I have been a Sunday school teacher for about 20, 25 years, and I work with the youth as well. Now I've stepped back a bit. So all I do is I do Saturday teaching. I teach English once every 3 months or something. So I'm very passionate about children, about the youth. The church, yes, it's a hospital, but a child shouldn't go there and be abused. So I'm going to ask each of you, what measures can the church put in place? One, to spot a child or youth who maybe is being abused in the house. And two, to help the children coming into their care and to stop them from being abused. Who wants to go first?
Let me try since I've been quiet for a minute.
Okay.
Um, I believe, I mean, when you want to just, since we talk about Sunday school, it's basically compared to like school, the school system.
Yeah.
In the school system, strategies that we may want to use or we use sometimes is to get, like we do role plays. When you role play certain, skills or stuff like that, you discuss with the whole class. Sometimes you don't want to bring attention to the abused children. So you just want to do a whole group activity with children where all children just get to have the sense of it that being abused is real, and that when something like that is happening in your home, you're free to share with a teacher or an adult in the building that you think cares, or that you think you can confide in and share your concerns. We role play, we recommend certain books that are good at addressing these issues, and then we discuss it in the classroom as a group. So the same way we can transfer the same information to the Sunday school. The
Mhm.
Bible is the best book of all. We can
Yeah.
have stories in the Bible where certain things like these are happening. We use certain words, we transfer the same thing, you know just the same way we do it in the school system. We bring it to the Sunday school to help children as far as what is going on around us in the society. So books can help, videos are there. These days, social media is training basically all the kids. They're all going on social media to find solace. So that's exactly where we want to go. Sometimes we teach the kids from where they are, because they are, this generation is all about what? Technology. So you
Mhm.
don't use technology to bring it home to the kids. You use where they go all the time to teach them about what is happening in the society. So books, videos, role playing, so you don't bring attention to the child. And I
All
want
right.
to quickly share this thing that I remember reading, or I think seeing on social media. I think it was WhatsApp or something. There was a child who saw the teacher. He's the grown up now. He saw the teacher and said, "Thank you, sir. You saved my life many years ago." And the teacher was like, "What happened? I don't even, know what you're talking about." And he said, "When we were in school one day, I stole money from my classmate.
All right.
And when you were looking for the money, all you said was, 'Everybody close your eyes.' So the whole class, everybody closed their eyes, and the teacher went round everybody's pocket and picked out the money from that child who was saying thank you to the teacher now. And so he was saying, that day you didn't even mention my name as the one who stole the money, but at least you shared that you found the money, and that's all you said. So
Right.
thank you for not even mentioning my name." And
Right.
you know what the teacher said? The teacher said, "Wow, I don't even remember you as the person who stole it. You know why? Because my eyes were closed too. The teacher's eyes were closed. So the teacher never even saw who took the money." So it was just like a lesson. The way we handle, these kids, we should sometimes have some kind of compassion or empathy when we deal with these kids, so that they also know that we adults are as human. When we bring ourselves as vulnerable, they see it that way and they become freer to even share with us. Because for fear of stigmatization, we often just are afraid to share what is heating us up, just because of the way even adults around us handle situations. Kids might come in and say, you know what, my mother's boyfriend started abusing me, but the way we just, what, he did that. But if you were to handle it, in a calm voice, or some kind of using some phrases, there are certain strategies we use to make the child feel like, you know what, I can confide in you, I can tell you more. But you make it seem as if the hell has broken loose. It makes the children just be so afraid to even come out to share. So we just have to
Keyword,
study.
Doc, I have to stop you there. I'm watching the time. The
Yes,
keyword there for me is vulnerability.
yes,
Vulnerability. That is a whole topic in itself. We are
yes.
scared to be vulnerable,
Hmm.
showing the real us. But then the question is, do we create the right environment for people to be vulnerable? Michael, so what would you say in the church setting? What can we do to protect the children that come into our care? Yes, Michael.
Okay. As I told you, my background was in teaching before I went to nursing, and there's something we do in both teaching and nursing. It's something called the safeguarding the children. Okay.
Safeguarding. Thank
So
you.
the first thing they should have done, probably the church should think about, is having a safeguarding committee in the churches, whereby they'll be able to deal with situations, because the safeguarding officers are experienced in how to, get information for the kids, just like that Dr. Turkson is talking about, whereby they know how to speak to the kids to get all the information that they need and deal with it in a confidential way, so that people are not going to hear about it, but it's going to be dealt with. So when you raise a safeguarding and it's even not even, not even happen, at least something has been done. Now, one of the key things in safeguarding is, no matter what, report it and let it be, dealt with to the latter before you say no. Because if you don't report it, what if it's happening? How would you be able to deal with it? Then it would maybe go further and may get worse. So if they set up a safeguarding in the churches, safeguarding committees in the church, whereby they have the financial committee and all that, they can set a safeguarding committee. But a lot of people are working in these schools going to churches, and working in the hospitals going to churches. They'll be able to deal with the situation there. So it's going to be a transferable skill from your place of work to your place of worship to be able to deal with situations like that. Because if they don't set up those things, it's going to be a problem.
Okay, so it will be a net that people can get through and then come in to abuse the church members. Yes, Paulette, what would you say? What would you like to add to that?
I was also going to say safeguarding training, but I think most importantly, when someone applies to, to be a volunteer, there needs to be CRB, so they need to be checked. They need to be checked. Any criminal records, they need to be, there needs to be some sort of, record of that. So the CRB is what we do. Personally, in my church, we do CRB. And we also do safeguarding training, just like Michael said. It just teaches you on what to look at, what to look for, how to address situations, but also how to report it. And I think that's the best, just to have the staff trained and to have them checked before they start their volunteering position or their job position within the church and within, the kind of environment with children.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to add my voice to this. Gone are the days when we could be like a daisical at church. We can't do that in the current environment. We can't do that. So safeguarding, have a safeguarding coordinator committee, do a background check, CRB check. Don't look at just the money coming, oh, it's expensive. No. It will be more expensive if somebody in your care in the church is abused or neglected. It is not expensive. CRB check is not expensive. Heck, people are giving tithe and offering. Take a bit of it. Do the CRB check. When you do that, I remember, if you're not a Christian, don't be offended. I remember I attended a conference at Saddleback Church, Rick Warren, a pastor's conference, and he said something. He said sometimes we'll make the mistake of focusing more on the money than the people. When you take care of the people, the money will come. And then he used the verse where Jesus told the disciples to cut a fish, and there was a gold coin in the mouth of the fish. So as you take care and provide all these CRB checks, and the parent knows that when their kids come, they can relax, they are safe, the parent will give without even thinking about it. So let's do better in our churches. Jesus has assigned us to do better. Let's do better. We can't do things, oh, it was this way, oh, it's not easy. Oh, we were okay. We had Sunday school. Yeah, we are fine. No. Are you sure you are fine? You are not fine. Let's do better by the children and the youth that have been placed in our care in the churches to ensure that no one is falling through the net. Okay, I'm going to read some definitions. They are a mouthful, but bear with me. They are a mouthful. Abuse and neglect. Abuse and neglect are forms of maltreatment of a child. Somebody may abuse or neglect a child by inflicting harm, failing to act to prevent harm. Failing to act to prevent harm is a form of abuse. Children may be abused in a family or in an institutional or community setting by those known to them. The percentage of those known to the kids abused is higher than those unknown, or more rarely by a stranger, for example, via the internet. And then there's another one, abuse and neglect. Abuse and neglect are forms of maltreatment of a child. Somebody may abuse a child or neglect a child by inflicting harm or failing to act to prevent harm. I've said that. And then the safeguarding. Safeguarding was being thrown around a lot. It's quite a mouthful, bear with me. Safeguarding is the process of protecting children and vulnerable adults from abuse or neglect, preventing impairment of their health and development, and ensuring they are living and growing in circumstances consistent with the provision of safe and effective care that enables them to have optimum life chances towards and throughout adulthood. Optimum life chances towards and throughout adulthood. On this note, I'm going to give every guest 1 second to say their final words. What would you say? I think we have talked about the solution. So if you are listening to us, if you are watching us, you've been through some form of abuse, you are angry, you don't understand why you are angry, you are hating your wife or your husband, and you don't even know why, step back. What happened in your childhood? I always say everything goes back to childhood. Everything goes back. So think back. It's in your subconscious. You might say, I've forgotten. It's there. Step back and reach out for help. So in 1 second, Paulette, I'm going to start with you. What would you say? What would be your closing words?
I would say you have to be honest with yourself and speak openly. Again, there's a level of vulnerability that you need, and you know that only you can obviously talk about. Seek help. Yes, as a Christian, like we said, God is there, but also there's a reason why He has given the wisdom to counselors. There's a reason why there is such a job as counselors. So reach out to the right help. And as you reach out, be honest, because by being honest, you will be able to receive the right help. And just a little, bracket here. When I sought help before now, when I went to see a counselor, because I did before, I wasn't as open, and therefore the help that I received didn't benefit me. So now I am prepared to be honest and open, and I know that by being open, you get the help that you need to fully heal and not just heal in part. So you are seeking total healing, not just healing in part. Therefore, open yourself wholeheartedly for the process to just start and obviously be completed.
Okay, thank you. Before I come to the two of you, bear with me. I put some comments here. Michael, you're so popular. Na Ayelekwe. Na Ayelekwe. Hi, Michael. And she said, totally agree with Michael. It's always a cycle until it's broken. And then another comment from Na Ayelekwe. Thank you all for sharing. Much love from Ghana. Yes, Doc. The final words. 1 second.
I just want to add that child abuse is real and it comes in different forms, and we just have to pay critical attention sometimes the minutest details are not are overlooked, and it ends up adding on and becoming a big thing when we could have nipped it earlier. So it's real. We have to pay attention to people, the kids around us, the kids put in our care, as well as wherever we find ourselves. If we think it's happening, we should seek help as soon as we can. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you too. Yes, Michael, final words.
Yeah, I think I'll go with what Paula said. The first thing you have to do is acknowledge you have a problem. If you acknowledge you have a problem, then you're on the first route of getting a solution to it. It's like when you have a headache, you can't say you don't medicate for stomach ache. So acknowledge you have a problem. This is where your problem is. Then from there, you have an insight in the problem that you have. Then you can find a solution to the problem that you have. So when you acknowledge that you were abused, and you're open and frank with your therapist, and then tell them about whatever the problem is, then they can come up with a solution to the problem, be able to help you overcome it. But if you're not open and you're trying to hide, it's like what Paulette said, they will not be able to get solutions to the problem for you. So people have to come out. Don't feel shy. Don't be stigmatized about this. Everybody has been through some form of abuse. Come out, talk about it. Okay, then you get a solution to the problem, then you move away from there to be able to help other people. Because if you don't talk about it, the abusers are still going to be abusing it. And it's still going to be the same thing as I said. It's a cycle until it's broken. Okay? It's a cycle until it's broken. Keep on, get people to talk about it, and we break the cycle, and this thing is not going to happen again. We're not going to have issues like what Paulette is going through. We're going to have issues like what me and you are going through. People will be able to deal with it. So first, acknowledge, be honest and open, and then find a solution to it. That's all I'll leave with you.
Okay, all right.
Can I add something to this? Sorry. I just wanted to say for parents, if your child comes out with, something like this, I know it's quite shocking and it's quite upsetting, but choose to believe your child, because there's so many parents who choose to not believe their children and discard the comment that the child may have made. So choose to believe your child, and obviously if the facts are proven right, do take your child for counseling. Don't try to hide the problem. Don't try to deal with it within the family so that no one knows, and it doesn't bring shame to the family, because at the end of the day, you're doing a disservice to that child by hiding it, and you're actually making the child feel even worse about the experience that was already quite traumatic. But now you're adding on to that trauma, and you're adding shame and so much more onto that child's life. So do believe your children when they tell you that this uncle, that auntie has done something, their cousin, their sister, their brother, whoever may have done that to your child. Do believe them and take it seriously, and obviously do take the right steps to get your child through, their healing journey as well, so that they don't become damaged adults and don't repeat that cycle again that Michael was talking about, because sometimes the cycle, some parents enable that cycle to continue. So that was, my addition. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulette. So if we don't break the cycle, we will enable it to continue. And this is what I will add. If you don't break the cycle, if you don't seek help, you will keep choosing an abuser. You will keep choosing an abuser for a partner, and you will blame the devil. But it's not the devil. If you don't do the work, you keep choosing the abuser, you keep choosing the wrong friendships, and you say, it's the devil. Do the work. Reach out for help. Acknowledge it. Don't let the shame keep you. Well, when you keep pushing dirt under the carpet, what happens to the part where you keep pushing the dirt? It becomes a sort of a mound, and then it shows. If you become an ostrich and you bury your head in the sand, I don't want to use the language that I really want to use in terms of the part that is exposed. But if you bury your head in the sand, the part that is exposed is even worse than if you had shown your head. I think you get what I'm saying. So reach out for help. Be vulnerable. There's no shame in that. If you cut yourself with a knife, you go and seek help. If you have a headache, you seek help. Your mind is all you got. Once it goes, that's you finished. Seek help. Take care of your mental well-being. Have a fantastic week. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are, Ghana, Minneapolis, Virginia, as in Doctor, London, wherever you are tuning in. As I said, if you need to speak to somebody, reach out, divorce on my terms. Thank you, Paulette. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Don't go. Please stay in the studio. I'm ending the broadcast, but don't go. So we'll have a quick 1 minute wrap up because I'm conscious Michael needs to continue driving. 1 minute. I promise you, Michael, 1 minute. And
No
then we'll go
problem.
from there. Have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your well-being until we come your way again. God bless you and bye-bye.